All right, everybody. Hey, hope all you're doing well tonight. It is Monday night. Welcome to this Note Night in America episode, the Guardians of the Note Galaxy. Hope you are doing well. I hope you had a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all of our mothers out there, whether you're moms, stepmoms, sisters, brother. Well, maybe not brothers, but stepmoms, whatever. Fur babies, mothers of the fur babies, mother of our kids, all that good stuff. Hey, happy Mother's Day to you all. Hope you had a great weekend. But we've got a fun Note Night in America tonight for you guys. Are joining us from all across the country or all across the galaxy. Before we dive into the meat and potato nights, just a couple little things I want to go through with you guys. Once again, thanks again for joining us on Note Night in America. Doing these calls for, hard to believe, 12 years now. We do have the Note Night in America podcast that you can always listen to the replays going back 142 episodes. You can watch the replays on any place that you watch or listen to iTunes or podcasts, along with watching on our YouTube channel at WeCloseNotes.tv. Thank you for subscribing, helping make us the #1 podcast and the #1 YouTube channel out there for note investors out there. Speaking of #1 podcast, the Note Closer Show podcast, hard to believe, 763 episodes there. 764, 765, and 76 will be released this week. So lots of great stuff for you to learn from on the Note Closure Show podcast and videos. So anyway, as we dive into tonight, show of hands of those that have seen the Guardians of the Galaxy, either 1, 2, or 3. Now, if you haven't, well, it's probably easier if we say, no, I have not seen it. And that's okay. If you haven't seen it, then you may not understand what the heck I'm talking about tonight. But it's I've seen it a couple times already as it came out. This is actually a pretty good trilogy that they have put out, Disney's actually done with the Marvel Studios. Really enjoyed it. The most recent one also really good. Little tear jerker in some spots. We won't get into that tonight. But if you have not seen, and let me to make sure, because I got to make it allow you guys to use the chat roll here. There we go. Chat roll is up and running. If you have not seen it, say nope, haven't seen it. If you have, say yes. And so I know we've got a lot of folks that have seen this. It's actually done really well. It may actually set some records going through the longer weekend and stuff like that. But good, thanks for sharing. Yes, no. Don, you haven't seen it? Okay, no problem. Ankur has yes seen it. Great, awesome. If you haven't seen any of the 3, you might want to take the opportunity to watch 1 or 2 of them. They're pretty good movies. John hasn't seen it either. Okay, John, it's worth seeing. I'll tell you that. It's a pretty good storytelling on the 3. Definitely brings some characters together. Definitely a motley crew of characters in the storyline over the 3 movies, and definitely with Volume 3, which is the last one of the Guardians of the Galaxy. But as I'm sitting here watching the movie throughout, I kind of am cracking up to myself in the movie theater, because I'm kind of recognizing some characters in here that fall in line with like our vendors. It falls in line with the characters in our Note universe, our galaxy, who's on our team, people that we have that surround us, people that we use on a regular basis. And this is not meant to piss anybody off or anything like that. I'm just having some good-natured fun tonight. But I literally was sitting back this weekend, actually last week, like Thursday, early Friday, as I was coming up with the idea for tonight's webinar. Who falls in what category, and where do you see characters? Now, if you know anything about movies in LA, they have a basic formula for movies, and I won't get into that, but check it out. They usually have a flawed main character, all right, and he's got a dilemma, and his dilemma is trying to solve it. And he's got people surround him, friends, enemies, mentors. There's always the older mentor in the movie in a lot of cases. And if you think back to your favorite action movie, stuff like that, you'll see that he's got, our main character is always flawed in some sort of fashion, and that's truly the case in Guardians of the Galaxy. So let's dive into it, because the main character, the lead in all 3 movies and a few others out there, is obviously Chris Pratt's character, and he's known as Star-Lord. And that's his name for being the Star-Lord, the galactic criminal or whatever, a thief or whatever like that. But he's actually Peter Quill from the Earth, right? And Star-Lord is definitely very funny, definitely flawed. One of those guys, he wants to probably cater himself a little bit after Kirk, James T. Kirk, a little bit of a womanizer, a little bit of a thief. But as he's known, he's like Star-Lord. And basically, he's just a Ravager looking to make a living. And what a Ravager is, basically, it's a thief. It's a galactic thief of criminals going around stealing things and selling it, looking for his next credit haul. But he's just looking to make a living. He's got a good nature, pretty humorous, definitely a fan of music, but he's looking to locate or steal valuables across the country, looking for a deal, okay? He reminds me of us as real estate investors, not stealing things, but looking for deals at a discount, something that we can flip for investment, something we can make some money off of, all right? And trying to find different ways to do that. Obviously, he's a flawed leader, good guy, bad guy. But he is the leader of the Guardians. He brings everybody together in Guardians of the Galaxy to help support him. He brings this motley crew of people he meet in prison and trying to get a deal done with the rest of the crew. He's made some past mistakes, but he finds a way to overcome obstacles to really be the leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And they really did a great job in having Chris Pratt be Star-Lord, and he's really done a great job coming forward as an actor. And he'll make you laugh, definitely funny, especially in this movie a little bit. He's suffering from a little bit of heartache because he's fallen in love with the leading lady in the movie. Part of the Guardians of the Galaxy he's gone through. If you've missed out on some of the Marvel movies, it may not make sense, but he falls in love with Gamora. And Gamora starts off kind of as a criminal. All of these people are kind of criminals a little bit that come together for the good side. But Gamora, she is the daughter of Thanos. He is the ultimate criminal who snaps his finger and kills off half the world, half the galaxy with a snap. But she is the daughter of Thanos, and she's trying to kill Thanos. And there's two sides of Gamora. You have the past Gamora in the previous Volume 1 and Volume 2, who joins up with Peter and a few others and starts to fall in love and really is Peter's love interest throughout. And then in the other Marvel movies, she actually passes away. And the current Gamora in this story is one from a different dimension who doesn't know Peter Quill, the love interest. She thinks Star-Lord is an idiot and is always worried about what's in it for me. Okay, that's what WIIF, what's in it for me. Okay, now I think of her character as a little like realtors. Okay, the past and present. Some get what we do as no investors, others don't. And they can be your biggest supporter in a lot of cases, or they can just think you're an idiot. What you're doing is illegal. I've had that been told in my face. Oh, what you're doing with note deals, that's got to be illegal. No, it's not. Or what you're doing with subject to deals or investing, that's illegal. No, it's not. It's completely not. Let's get your mind across. Let's bring it into the current millennium to help you kind of take things happen. And like they said, they can be your biggest asset or your worst mind block. People that support you can either be your biggest friend or they can be your biggest hurdle that you got to get over. I think we've all dealt with that in the past, of good support or bad support group, depending on where their mindset is at. And that's definitely outlines Gamora in a lot of cases. Zoe Delzano, they cast as Gamora, did a really great job. She's just a great actress as well out there. And her character in this movie is definitely much more aggressive versus the softer version that we've come to like as being Star-Lord's love interest. And it's kind of funny seeing Star-Lord fall over himself as he's trying to convince the new Gamora about them in the past. And it's an interesting story. Of course, you have a lot of comic relief in this movie too, with Drax the Destroyer, played by Bautista, the ex-wrestler, Steve Bautista. Drax the Destroyer, his backstory is he lost his wife and his daughter to one of the big criminals in the first story. He's definitely as we like to say, probably the muscle when it comes to the Guardians of the Galaxy. He's definitely the muscle of Guardians, but very literal. Doesn't understand puns, doesn't understand jokes sometimes, thinks he just doesn't get things. And that's part of the comic relief throughout the series, is just not getting it. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think about people that can't take a joke or when we're joking about things, I think about one specific niche of vendors out there. And oftentimes this niche of investors or niche of vendors can often cause more trouble when they interject themselves. And that's definitely about what Drax does. A lot of times he's trying to do something good, but it causes more trouble because he goes about it just willy-nilly, trying to force his hand or trying to step in and make sure that he's worthy of stuff. It definitely reminds me of attorneys. You need their muscle, but sometimes they can just screw stuff up and you need them to get them out of the way, right? Attorneys are very important in our note business. There's nothing wrong with them, but sometimes they just you try to get them to joke a little bit, and they're just not very jokey sometimes. But no offense to any of my attorney friends out there, I'm not talking about you, but you get what I'm saying. I think if you've ever been a real estate investor for a while, and you're trying to negotiate something, sometimes attorneys just screw stuff up, and you're like, just step out. I had a closing recently. I'm like, listen, dude, you're just screwing stuff up. Just stop. Here's how we want it, and we'll go with that. And we'll just do as we say. Don't try to turn an 8-page document into a 35-page document, make it much more complicated than it is. But anyway, Drax is definitely very humorous. It's definitely part of the comic relief throughout. Of course, then you have the mastermind. The smartest individual is a raccoon. And that's Rocket the raccoon, or Rocket Raccoon, throughout, played actually by Seth Penn, who's a different actor. There's an actor I'm gonna tell you about. He actually plays him as his green screen, but he's portrayed by Bradley Cooper as the voice Rocket. Anyway, he is the smartest and most talented Guardian. He's actually a raccoon from Earth that's been modified by the enemy in Volume 3. He's definitely an outside-the-box thinker with a sense of humor, definitely a dark, sarcastic sense of humor. But he actually is a very talented weapons expert, talented pilot. He gets out of tight jams in a lot of cases by putting things together, and that's one of the things throughout it that without Rocket, there would be no Volume 2, Volume 3. He's able to put things, really one of the smartest, I guess you could say, organisms in the story out there. It's definitely a weapons expert, but also a pilot, and just absolutely brilliant. And he has a temper and a softer side. All right, doesn't want to talk about having a softer side. You see his temper flare quite a bit, but definitely in this movie, this volume, you definitely see a softer side. It's kind of his origin story, where he came from. And here's the thing. Rocket reminds me a lot of our loan servicing companies. They have good and bad. They're very talented at what they do, but sometimes they can mess things up being a little aggressive sometimes. And they're good, but they've got issues. Now, of course, the next favorite character is the character that has the most lines, most unique lines throughout the movie, and that would be Rocket's sidekick, Groot. Okay? Now, Groot is a humanoid plant. And it takes on a couple different sizes and forms. In the first one, he's tall and elegant and gets demolished, saving the Guardians, protecting his family, the Guardians of the Galaxy. In Volume 2, he starts off very small as adolescent, growing up, a teenager. And the third one here is grown full size, and then you see at the end a much bigger group. But he's also, like I said, he's Rocket's sidekick. And he says, "I am Groot," is what he says, and he's Rocket's sidekick. Okay. Next part of that is, "I am Groot," which gives, and Groot means he gives the Guardians added weapons and growth throughout. Basically, he's a great warrior. He's got some great skills up his sleeves, or his leaves, or his branches, that are able to do things that nobody else can do. It's always interesting when you have a movie that has that, right? A little sci-fi. I am Groot. This reminds me of our investors. Sometimes they're very solitude in mindset. They only say one thing a lot of times. But it also, when you've got investors that can understand what you're saying, or you can speak to them, it gives you a lot of flexibility. I am Groot gives you your confidence and the ability to grow, like Groot did, with deal growth and doing bigger things. Okay. Groot has also got some comic relief throughout it, but I am Groot is definitely one of the funniest things to have. And then the fact that they have Vin Diesel being the voice of Groot and saying basically, "I am Groot, I am family, I love you guys," is the final saying that Groot says throughout the movie there for you. Then you start kind of getting into some more of the flawed characters. The next character that takes on a much bigger role in Volume 2 and Volume 3, who definitely has a whole change of heart and change of appearance, it's definitely Nebula. And if you don't know who Nebula is, she is also Thanos' other daughter. She is also, that makes her Gamora's sister. And what you see throughout the movie, especially in Volume 2, is the two going back and forth each other. Gamora was Thanos' favorite daughter. Nebula was taken apart and put back together, tortured multiple ways. Anytime she failed, anytime Thanos put the two girls against each other, Gamora would win and Nebula would lose out. Then she would be tortured in some case. But she becomes a Guardian after trying to kill Gamora in Volume 2 and realizing that she has found her family and can use what she's learned and her strengths to help the Guardians out, but then ultimately get back at Thanos. All right. She literally, truly becomes a mother figure in volume 3 to the rest of the Guardians, since Gamora's kind of gone and you have a different Gamora on there. And we all need that motherly figure. We all need that somebody to watch out for us, to take care of us, to make sure everybody's doing well. She definitely takes that on, volume 3. But she also reminds me of our biggest critics. If you're doing anything, starting out as a real estate investor, you've got people that care about you, but that are also kind of your biggest critics because they come from a place of fear. Like, you can't do that. You're no good. You're not a note investor. You're not a real estate investor. What do you think you are, a guardian of the note galaxy? No, you're not. You have no experience in doing that. And they don't realize that you've got an amazing team around you to support you. I am a Groot, and I'm Drax, and all this other people have got a lot of experience. And that's the thing about family. Family sometimes comes from a place of protecting us, but they can be our biggest critic because they're trying to protect us. Like, you can't do that. They're afraid that you're going to fail. And I really see that in Nebula throughout several of those movies. And she takes on, like I said, a much more different figure and being very supportive in this movie. Becomes a fan due to seeing the success of the Guardians and Peter and everybody else really doing amazing things. And that's the thing, that's how you overcome your critics and your family may not be on your side, is saying, hey, I can do this, and showing proof in what I say, shut up checks, just proving people that you're doing the right thing and that you're in the right spot and moving forward. That's one of the greatest things. So a lot of times our family, friends don't know what the heck we're doing. They don't know anything about real estate. And so that they can be kind of negative. But anyway, Nebula really does a strong character. Then we've got some other major characters too. We have Mantis. Mantis appeared in volume 2. Turns out her favorite prank is messing around with Drax. Now, she's got some strengths and weaknesses that are definitely interesting. She reminds me of the empathy, and I'm going to call for some things there. I got these things out a little bit of order. She has the ability to influence thoughts and feel the emotions of others, helping people fall asleep, being able to control. So she definitely comes in big in volume 2. Turns out she was created by Peter's father. So technically her and Peter Quill are brother, sister. I found that out in a special edition. But she really reminds me of the fact that we have to have empathy with our borrowers, with our other people that don't understand what we're doing. Especially when we're dealing with distressed borrowers, we've got to have empathy and take a minute to think about the distressed borrowers, the people that we're working with who are distressed. What's their issues? What's the problem? How can we solve this? And not to ignore their feelings, but to feel their feelings and empathize with them and help them overcome their emotions. Okay, so great character. Like I said, she likes to play pranks on Drax, like having him fall in love with his sock. There's a scene in the movie where she's able to get one guy, a guard, to fall in love with Drax throughout the movie and being in other movies, which is pretty hilarious. But anyway, moving on, then we've got some characters that have been around for a while. Somebody who really reminded me of us as new investors, and this is Kraglin. This is the brother of the director of all 3. And this guy, the actor, actually plays Rocket through the action side, but he also plays his character as Kraglin in here. And Kraglin's character is a former Ravager, and he's a loyal sidekick to Yondu, who was the head of the Ravagers, we'll talk about in a second. But he and Peter kind of grew up together as Ravagers reading around, and he's changed because Yondu was his leader, his captain, and when Yondu passed away, he stepped in to be a part of the Guardians and is being supportive of them. But he actually inherits Yondu's whistle Yaka arrow, which is this arrow thing that he's holding here and this thing on his head. He's able to control the arrow by whistling. And it's one of the most effective tools to take out their enemies. And he's really struggling with the whistle to get it. And part of it's from his lack of self-confidence. And that's what really reminded me about Kraglin's character with us as new investors, is he's got a big heart and wants to do some amazing things, but he doesn't have a lot of confidence. You guys know any investors that are like that you're around with? Or maybe you started off like that. You didn't have a lot of confidence because you weren't familiar in the niche of investing, or you weren't familiar with raising capital and how to talk or how to whistle over investors to your side. He's very careful and not a lot of confidence in his ability. As we start off with, we can be very careful, not a lot of confidence on our abilities as well. And it takes experience. It takes having that confidence to get things done. And it's great to see at the end of the movie, he really takes on that confidence and really does an amazing job. Okay. Another small character in this movie, which kind of cracked me up a little bit, was Cosmos, the space dog. Now, Cosmos appeared a little bit in a couple of the previous movies, and especially with the political nature of what's going on, it was kind of funny that he inserted this in, because Cosmos He's a telekinetic and telepathic ability dog. He can actually move things with his mind. He can read people's minds. He saves the day by protecting them. And he reminds me of our force place insurance companies in case of something bad happened. But he is his background, he becomes the head of security for Nowhere, which is where all the Guardians live now. That's a whole different story now. And he is a leftover test animal from the Soviet space race during the Cold War. Okay. And in the movie, it's him and Kraglin are going back and forth. They're really the Guardians, the safety network, the security for Nowhere. And they're back and forth. And there's a thing that Kraglin's trying to do with his arrow that he can't do, but that Cosmos can do with a stone. And Kraglin calls him bad dog. And throughout the movie, Cosmos keeps saying, you know, I am not a bad dog. I am not a bad dog. You know I'm a good dog. And at the very end, Kraglin calls him a good dog. So if you're a pet lover, you have to crack about this. But this reminds me, his role is actually a male role in the characters, but in the movie it's a female voice portrayed by Cosmos. And it reminds me of our insurance companies who are there to really bring things together and protect us in some cases. So last, but definitely, certainly not least, is kind of the mentor, the leader of originally is Yondu. Back in the day, you may recognize the character. I can't remember his actor's name, but he's been around forever. You know, I saw him. I watched a movie. Oh my God, Days of Thunder. He plays that as the kind of the antithesis, you know, anti-hero opposite Tom Cruise back in the day. Same thing in this. He's the leader of the Ravagers. He's actually the guy that stole Peter Quill from Earth when Peter was a boy, had taken to his father and decided not to give him to his father because he found his father was killing all sorts of young youth, and so he raised him kind of as his own. He plays the mentor and a father figure to Peter Quill throughout this, you know, volume 1, volume 2. And while he did make an appearance in volume 3, he's definitely there through Kraglin and other things, and driving the story from beyond. He sacrifices himself to save Peter actually in volume 2. He definitely befriends Rocket and helps Rocket get over his issues in volume 2. And this is one of the great things about this. Yondu takes his role as this mentor, this father figure. And it really reminds me of our mentors, our coaches that we've had along the way. You know what I mean? Somebody there who's there to guide us, try to keep us out of trouble. He's willing to pitch in to pull us out of a tight jam. That's exactly what Yondu ends up doing. He ends up sacrificing himself to get Peter out of a bad situation so Peter can survive and Yondu passes. And it actually brings you to a teary moment in the end of volume 2 when Yondu's passed away at his funeral that the Ravagers show up at. So, but, you know, we all need mentors to help guide our way. And, you know, I kind of want to end with that character. If I can help you in any form or fashion, you're looking for a mentor, I'm here to help you out, guys and gals. And we have people all across the country in different capacities of making things happen. If you haven't seen the movie, hey, go out and check it out. It's worth seeing. There's a lot of crap in the movie theaters out there, I'll tell you that right now, but this is actually a really great movie. Definitely worth seeing. And like I said, I've seen it a couple times, and I've probably watched the other previous ones a dozen times each as well, because they're just great movies and great storytelling. And that's hard to see things without a lot of hot buttons that just kind of make you go, bleh, you know what I mean? That's definitely not the case here with the Guardians of the Galaxy. But anyway, if you know, that's kind of what I have for tonight. The Guardians of the Galaxy. We all have people, vendors, people that surround us, people that we put in our businesses, people that support us on the beginning, or people that we come across to help you. And the best thing I can tell you is to go out and surround yourself with great people who are there to help you. We all need a team to succeed. We all need mentors. We all need coaches. We all need people in our corner to support us, even kind of kick our ass a little bit to put us on the right path, to be our own Star-Lord. If you want to take that kind of as a pun there for a little bit. But the idea is to have fun, ladies and gentlemen. If you've got any questions about note investing or real estate investing, I'm here. Any questions about the movie, glad to answer that for you. I did want to share something tonight. We haven't done this in a while. This is a special kind of thing we're doing here this summer. I haven't taught a live in-person class in probably 6 years. It's all been via Zoom. And for the first time, and I don't know how long, I'm going to teach actually a 3-day live class here in Austin, Texas. Yes. Here in Austin, Texas. Don't have the finalized date. We're waiting on hotels to get back to us, but it'll probably be late June or after the 4th of July. It'll be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday class here in Austin, Texas. You'll fly into Austin, spend 3 days with yours truly. We won't record the class. but you will, if you sign up for the class, you will get recordings through the previous class or be able to attend the next class via Zoom. It will come with a manual. You'll spend 3 days just going through how to find, how to fund, and how to flip notes. And we'll probably have a happy hour one night, and it'll be a great networking event. And, we'll do this class, like I said, over 3 days. And I'm really looking forward to it. I haven't done it in a while, but we're looking at, it won't be a huge class. Somewhere between 20 and 40 students is what we're looking for. Not a huge class, something to have fun and really get a chance to kind of get to know folks out there. And you can get signed up for this class by going to notebuyingfordummies.com. If you don't want to sign up until you know the specific date, at least go there, register your name and email address, and then I'll alert you when the date comes out so you know exactly. Don't have to pay anything tonight. But if you just go in and go to notebuyingfordummies.com and register for just to stay in touch with that aspect of things, it should take you to a checkout window. You don't do anything there. But get registered for it. When we have a date, I'll notify you, and it'll be a limited number of seats. I think the hotel that we're going to be, one of the two hotels is somewhere between 20 and 40. So I don't have a specific head count, but I'll let you know. And those seats will be limited. And if you're a WCN crew member, we'll love to have you. You will get a discount off the normal price of that. But make sure you go to notebuyingfordummies.com, get registered for that class so that we can keep you in the running and let you know when it's going to be finally scheduled for. We've got a couple dates and we're just waiting for a couple places to come back, but we're going to do it here in Austin, Texas, not downtown. We'll do it up on the north side of Austin and just have a blast for you. All righty. Any questions, any comments, any concerns before we let you go for the evening? Hopefully you had a little bit of fun tonight here with the Guardians of the Note Galaxy. No, I will not do it in Dripping Springs, Don. But you could drive up here, but we won't do it in Dripping Springs. That's just going to be too difficult for folks to get to in a lot of cases. So we'll do it here on the north side of Austin. But anyway, good stuff there. Hopefully we'll see you here at the class then, Don. But anyway, there's no any other questions or comments or concerns, everybody. Let you go. Feel free if you always have a question. You can always book a call with me by going to talkwithscottcarson.com. That's talkwithscottcarson.com, and glad to answer any questions to help you on your path to becoming a better note investor. So thanks for joining me tonight, guys. Go out and take some action.